everybody, welcome back to Movieverse. My name is Brian, joined by Greg.
Hi.
And this is Movieverse Movie News Episode 9. We've had a couple weeks off of the Movieverse show because last week was Comic-Con.
The Father's Day in there as well.
Yeah, and the week before. So we took a couple weeks off. I did bring you guys some videos last week where we did some trailer reactions. But this is going to be our Comic-Con recap movie news show. So we're going to start off by talking about some panels. That the big three that I want to cover is the Lucasfilm panel, the Fox panel with Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and XMen, and also, of course, DC's panel with Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. So we're going to start with the Star Wars panel.
Yep.
And so we didn't really get a new trailer or anything like that. They said they're waiting for the trailer until the fall. Yeah, I think is when they said that they're going to release that.
They're doing a big push starting in September with all the tie-in toys and
and
like
books
and comics and all that stuff.
So we didn't get a trailer, but we did get some behind-the-scenes footage of the movie. Basically, the scenes that we've already seen.
There's a couple other new tidbits in there, like the crashed TIE fighter, and
which looked amazing. Yeah, like that. I was looking at that. I'm like,
stormtrooper with flamethrower.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that one. But yes, like there were some people who were kind of upset that it was behind the scenes instead of a trailer. I guess they just want more information. Like, as all Star Wars fans do, we want as much information as we can.
And we've had like that teaser trailer for a while now, so it's like it's kind of. The fans are kind of starting to get a little unruly, and they want more.
Well, but JJ's very, very known for keeping secrets about his movies.
And at least, there was that Entertainment Weekly post earlier that said they were not going to show a trailer. So they are very upfront about it.
Yeah, if fans went into Hall H expecting there to be a trailer and there wasn't one, I'm sure they would have been pretty upset. But
who was on the panel?
Let's see. Well, there were the new kids on the block, as I would call them: John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and Oscar Isaac, Apocalypse himself. Oh wait, Poe Dameron. My bad. Wrong movie. Wrong. No. But so you had those three, and they came on. Well, at first it was J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy. They came on first, and they had some questions that they answered from the crowd and from whoever their moderator was. I can't remember at this point.
I believe it was Chris Hardwick.
Was it Chris Hardwick? I think he did like every panel.
But he did pretty much all of the Hall H panels.
Except for WB, it was Aisha.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're right about
anyway,
that.
So Chris Hardwick asked him some questions, and then some fans asked him some questions, and then the new kids on the block came on: John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and Oscar Isaac, and then they brought on the dark side of the Force, as you would call. I guess at least one of them has it, but the bad guys. They brought on the bad guys, which was Adam Driver, the Captain Phasma, the girl who's playing Captain Phasma.
Oh yeah, I'm blanking on most of the new cast members.
Yeah, and Donald Gleason, who plays General Hux, is his name, and they confirmed that at the panel. So they brought on those three actors, and same thing. Hardwick asked him some questions, and they opened it up for some fan questions, and then they brought out the OGs. They brought out Princess Leia, Luke, and Han Solo, and so it was actually a lot of people were, I guess, kind of surprised that Harrison Ford was there, but he got a standing ovation. He seemed like he was happy to be there. It was super cool to have. That's 9 people right there, actor wise, that are all going to be playing a pretty big role.
All the major cast.
Yeah, so it was super cool to see, and the best part for me of that panel was the old cast members, kind of talking about old times, and Harrison Ford kind of joked with Mark Hamill about how many times do I have to apologize for taking away Princess Leia, like kind of thing. So that was super funny. They asked Harrison Ford if his foot was okay, and he was like, "Well, I just walked out here." Like, so and he was smiling. He was having a good time. He said how grateful he was, and
he definitely seemed to enjoy his time more than the last time he was at Comic-Con.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford, he's not one to sugarcoat things. Like he's if he's not happy to be there, he's not going to look happy to be there. But he was actually like smiling and things like that. So it's super cool to have all those actors there. Donald Gleason as General Hux kind of let something slip, I think, because it seemed like JJ wasn't ready to, release this information, but he said that General Hux is like the commander of a base that is titled the Star Killer Base, which is a tip to the hat to the original name for Luke Skywalker, which was Luke Starkiller.
Yeah.
So that was, so I don't think they meant to release that information, but Donald Gleason said it, so then JJ was like, yeah, so there's this base, and, it's named after Luke Skywalker and that kind of thing, or the Skywalker family. That's pretty much the cast.
So I kind of learned from his mistake with Star Trek, like, is it Khan? No. Is it Khan? No. It's Khan.
Yeah.
So, like, okay, he said it. It's Starkiller. It's named after Luke Starkiller.
Yeah. So really that's all we had from the panel itself.
Yeah. Let's go into their mic drop moment.
The coolest part was J.J. Abrams was like, "Hey, who wants to go to a Star Wars concert?" And everybody was just like, "Oh yeah." So all 6,500 people, or however many people, were in Hall H.
No, there's a good 500 people that sticked around for Kevin Smith afterwards.
I don't even think so. I think it was less, but thousands of people got up and left Hall H to go to this Star Wars concert, and Kevin Smith did have a panel afterwards, and he texted out, he's like, "I sense a disturbance in the force." Like 6,000 people just left Hall H, and but yeah, so they took everybody, and it was led by a procession of stormtroopers. They walked out of Hall H. They walked down the street to basically the San Diego Symphony played John Williams' Star Wars music, and it started with John Williams leaving a message for him, and at the concert ended with fireworks.
Yeah,
and so people were like posting videos of it like online, like just short little clips like on Instagram or anything
Vine
like that
or whatever.
Yeah, and just like seeing that small little tidbit of it, I was just like, man, I wish I was there for that, because that's one of those things, like, that is fan service at its finest. Like, no, you might not show them a new trailer that gives them a lot more information about the movie, but you have the whole cast there, the original three, kind of like, talking about old times, like, everybody gets to enjoy that. I think you take everybody who's in Hall H to a personalized, like, concert. Like, it was exclusive for Hall H, those people who got the passes in Hall H. So, they didn't get new footage, but, you definitely got something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. Yeah. For sure.
And it kind of goes back. It's going to kind of be the counterpoint to a small debate we'll have later on as well. Yeah.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about the Star Wars panel? That's pretty much all that happened.
The only thing, they really beat home the drum that this is a practical effects movie. Yeah. Well, they didn't do that. They did that at Star Wars Celebration. They just kept on pounding that drum.
Yeah. So, that reminds me, they brought out Baba Joe, which is basically it's a dude in a suit who's like walking around, but then it has like 5 other people controlling all the mechanical things on Baba Joe, and it was super cool to see that, because he walked out on stage and he did like a lap around the stage, and then he went off, and it was super cool to see that. So yeah, they are definitely beating home the fact that they do use a lot of practical effects, but JJ also said practical effects can only go so far, and we will do some CGI on top of the practical effects, but a lot of it will be based practically. Yeah. So that's super cool, because they know that the biggest gripe about those prequels, one of the biggest gripes about those prequels, was that everything was a green screen and CGI. Yeah. So there's like no room for the actors to actually act. It was just like all green screen. So but that's all that happened at the Star Wars panel. Most of the rest of the interviews were kind of just basic run-of-the-mill Comic-Con stuff where they don't really tell you anything about the movie, but yeah. So then we're going to move on to chronologically the next big panel that we wanted to cover, which was the WB panel. And they started off with Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Pan, but I don't think anybody went to Hall H for those two movies. They went to Hall H so they could see Suicide Squad.
Go to Hall H for the day, because that's kind of the whole thing about what happened, which I didn't realize from the Star Wars thing is, you basically get in line for Hall H for that day, and you stay in there all day. Yeah. That's why nobody was there for Kevin Smith.
Saturday was...
Most other conventions, all panels, they make you leave and then resit. Yeah. Reseat. Whereas this, you're in there all day.
Well, so... Yeah, but I'm saying, but this was Saturday, right? So you're going in Saturday. You're going in to see Suicide Squad and Batman v Superman. You're not going in to see Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Pan, which...
Even though I am kind of excited for Man from U.N.C.L.E. actually looks fun.
They both look like fine movies. I'm just saying, but as a Comic-Con fan, you're going for these two things. So we're going to go ahead talk about some Suicide Squad, right? So the Suicide Squad cast came out. Well, first off, David Ayer came out. And he was out there. He was like the hype man, right? He was like, "Man, I'm getting tired of these good versus evil. I'm wanting some bad versus evil. It's time to make a movie about the bad guys." Like, and he was like cussing up a storm, and he's saying, "I don't want to start no beef with Marvel, but DC's got the best villains," which I mean, I kind of agree with. But yeah, so then the cast came out, and they didn't sit down, they didn't take questions or anything like that. So, but they did a little bit more than what they did last year with Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and Henry Cavill. They did some like weird, like, I don't know, like they went like Suicide Squad or something like that. I'm like, what? Like, it seems like high school or something. But and then Will Smith got on the mic saying like, that they're making a movie that they think that we're gonna love. He's praising David Ayer, which David Ayer is the director for Fury, and that movie was great. So I have faith that he's going to do a great job with Suicide Squad. So yeah, the cast came out, and then they showed a teaser. A first look teaser of Suicide Squad, and it gave us a good first look of the tone of the film, and it also gave us our first look of in live action Joker.
Yeah,
for the
and all the characters as well. Like, we see them all both as people and like in their costumes.
But I think after they released those official photos of the cast, I think that the biggest question or biggest complaint that people had was the Joker. So I think the most important character that they had to show in this footage was the Joker, and it definitely didn't disappoint.
Yeah, it definitely fits that atmosphere that they're going for.
Yeah, so the trailer gave us, or the teaser, I'm sorry, gave us a look at Amanda Waller, Killer Croc, Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, El Diablo, Joker, Rick Flag, all those characters.
Glimpse at Katana.
Yeah, and so, but it didn't give us anything about the story or who the villain is. Enchantress, it gave us a view of Enchantress, who we believe might be
at least the antagonist of the movie,
a MacGuffin, or So the teaser, I mean, it definitely gave me faith in this movie. Jared Leto's Joker looks and sounds amazing in this teaser footage that we got. Greg, what was your thoughts on the teaser footage?
On the teaser footage that was made, we'll have our own quick look on it on this channel as well, so we'll get more detail there. But like, I was a little curious to see like how all of these people like would come together.
Yeah.
And while yes, it didn't necessarily show them in plot, in context.
Yeah.
But it kind of made everything kind of fit together. Like.
Yeah.
It felt like, okay, this is the right first step. Like, it gave me more faith in it. Like, I was kind of like, maybe it'll be good. Like, but now I'm definitely on board with that movie.
It's definitely pretty exciting. But even more exciting than the Suicide Squad cast and footage was the Batman v Superman panel.
So the mic drop they had with the Suicide Squad trailer or teaser, they had to go back and pick up the mic, and then they could drop it again
so they can drop it from higher, but yeah, so Batman v Superman, the cast came out. They answered a question from Chris Hardwick again, and or not Chris Hardwick, Aisha Tyler, and then they showed a trailer. But let's first talk about the cast. Well, the one thing I want to talk about the cast of Batman v Superman is when they're all on the panel. Ben Affleck told a story about how he ran into
Christian
Bale at a comic or a costume, a costume shop. And they were both with their kids shopping for a Halloween costume.
For a Batman costume.
And he was just like, "Hey, Christian, you were one of the best Batmans. Like, what advice do you have?" And he's like, "Make sure you can piss in the suit." Like, it's hilarious to hear a story like that. And it kind of as a fan, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear him not only like excited to play the character, but like asking advice so he can do the character justice. But outside of the panel, there's one actor that I have to point out. Jesse Eisenberg is not a very good PR person. I think like the day or two after Comic-Con, somebody asked him like what his experience was like being at Comic-Con, and he compared it to genocide.
Yeah,
to genocide. Like,
I mean, from what I heard, like he's very much a like kind of like private, kind of almost like type B type of person. Like,
yeah, but
he doesn't do well like in these giant throngs of crowds.
But he could have said, it's like a rock concert and it's really not my thing. If he would have compared it to a rock concert, I can see that because a lot of people screaming or whatever, fine. But genocide, like, that just makes it very negative.
I mean, he did later apologize for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, anyways, moving on from the cast and actually to the trailer. If you guys haven't seen our trailer reaction video, go check it out so you can actually see us react to the trailer and also give like a detailed discussion about it. But that trailer was one of the best trailers that I have seen in a very long time. Well, actually, I have to take that back because the Star Wars trailer, the original first trailer, was great. But this one, I mean, gosh, man, how do you make a better trailer? Like, that was just amazing. All the stuff we got from that.
I mean, as I was not part of that trailer reaction, so I'll be a little more long-winded here. But it's a case of you got a great sense of what's going on in the movie without it actually giving away anything that actually is going on.
Just some of the visuals that it gave you.
Like Henry Cavill and didn't say a single word in that trailer.
Yes, he did. But it was off camera. He wasn't on camera. He was talking about. He's the one that said the Batman is leaving a trail of destruction and vigilante justice or whatever. Like that line, I forget what the exact quote was.
So I never even heard that. I heard the Perry White's response.
It was right before Perry White's response. But yeah, it was off camera. But yeah, so like the trailer, what it did was, I mean, what every trailer is supposed to do. It got fans so pumped for this movie.
It tells you what's going on without giving away what is going on. Like it was the perfect blend of feeding your appetite without giving away too much.
Yeah, I mean, just the visuals of Superman in a courtroom, and at the end of that thing where Superman rips off the doors to the Batmobile, and then Batman just stands up and toe to toe with Superman, without his mech suit. I mean, that's just a great visual. All right, so that's going to do it for our WB panel recap. Now we're going to go into the Fox panel, which actually had 3 comic book movies: Fantastic Four, Deadpool, and X-Men. We'll talk about Fantastic Four first. Honestly, the trailer they released, I've seen it. I didn't do a trailer reaction video to it, just because of the way that it worked out. I wasn't able to. I was the only person here covering the Fox panel, live tweeting and stuff like that. So I got kind of lazy, let's be honest. But the Fantastic Four trailer, it's pretty by the numbers, really.
It didn't give you anything really new.
No,
it gave you a better look at Doom, but that's really about it.
Yeah, and when we talk about panels, Deadpool and X-Men had pretty good panels as far as cast goes, but the cast panel for Fantastic Four, it makes you feel like they're sorry for making the movie.
But at the same time, it's I don't think any of them have been part of a Comic-Con panel before.
No.
So it's a lot of people that that aren't used to that type of atmosphere that are now being thrown front and center, and you've never done it before, you don't really know what to do.
All I can say is that with a mixture of the footage that we've seen, the official images that they've released, and things I'm hearing from the cast and from behind the scenes stuff that we've heard about Josh Trank and stuff like that on set, it just doesn't bode well for this movie. And
especially since it also has to overcome the previous 2 Fantastic Four in terms of fan acceptance and fan reaction.
I've said a lot in the past that I would love for the Fantastic Four to be in the MCU. But in order for that to happen, this movie will have to fail. And even though I want that to happen, I want the Fantastic Four to be in the MCU, I kind of feel bad for the cast and director and everything that if this does fail, it's just another thing. You know what I mean? For them, it's bad, but I don't know. It's kind of a mixed thing. What's your feelings on Fantastic Four?
I mean, Fantastic Four, even when they announced it, I was never really a big fan of them in the first place, even from a comics and animated cameos. They never really done much for me. And so going again, also seeing the first 2 movies were pretty bad, to say the least, to be nice about it. So they have a lot to overcome initially. Sure, the trailer, it looks more grounded, looks more realistic, whatever, but at the same time, it's it was going to take 5-star reviews to really get me excited or interested to go see it in the first place.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, this is actually the first comic book movie that I'm actually questioning whether I want to go see. And, I mean, part of that is, is like you have to choose where you spend your money, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if I want to promote a movie that I don't think will be good. You know what I mean? Because if I promote a movie that I don't think will be good, then that just means that the movie's going to make more money and that they're going to make a sequel. Yeah. And I don't really want a sequel to a bad movie, but at the same time, I am curious to see if it is a good movie. You know,
and that's one of the things I'm going to have to wait till the people who get to actually review it for free, see it for free, and review it before we do it for fun. Yeah, we have to go spend all our own money.
This is for you guys and us, not for.
This is a little behind the scenes kind of thing. Like we go pay for our movie tickets to go review a movie.
Yeah, this is all a hobby for us.
So it's going to take it would take good, very high reviews to really get me really interested to see it.
Yeah, now let's turn the tables a little bit and let's talk about Deadpool, because one, that panel was very different, and also that trailer that was shown in Hall H that hasn't been officially released, that has been leaked. So the panel with the cast, brought out Ryan Reynolds and T.J. Miller, Morena Baccarin, and all the cast, and it was a very R-rated panel. Like T.J. Miller and Chris Hardwick were making some very rated R jokes. Did you watch the panel?
I've not, but I've heard all the things. And they are buddies outside of this, so they have a kind of history that goes beyond just this panel.
So and it's like T.J. Miller was making some equestrian jokes that I'm not going to repeat on this video, but I mean, it was definitely pretty funny, and
it's a stark contrast to Fantastic Four, because you also look at Deadpool was a pet project. It was made because the fans demanded that it got made. So like versus Fantastic Four, which was these are people just hired to be actors.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Deadpool. I mean, you said that you watched the leak footage, right?
Yes, I did.
What was your impressions from the leak footage?
I mean, it looks great. Like I'm not gonna say it looks great. Like visually, like it has a definite atmosphere that you definitely pick up on I don't know what I'm saying, but that you pick up on like almost instantly. Like it very feels like a coherent vibe to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds has a bunch of real good one-liners that they show. The action looks well choreographed. Looks good. Granted, a lot of it was that SUV fight scene that leaked test footage.
Yeah. I mean, is it safe in assuming that they captured the essence of Deadpool like very well?
Yeah, I mean I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Deadpool, but from what I know and what I've seen with regarding Deadpool, like it feels like Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about the one-liners. It makes a lot of references to other movies. Like I think I remember they talked about a little sizzle reel, or like a little clip that they played before that wasn't this footage that they're talking about, or the trailer that they're talking about releasing in 3 weeks. So it was like a little clip where it was like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool saying, from the studios that inexplicably sewed his effing mouth shut.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, yeah, that's perfect, because they did that in a previous movie, and Ryan Reynolds from the studio that actually did that is saying that in a movie that studio is now making. Like, it's just perfect.
Yeah, like you see him on the gurney going to get his surgery to essentially make him Deadpool.
Yeah.
He says, "Don't make my costume green or animated."
Yeah, referencing the Green Lantern, which was another movie that Ryan Reynolds was in that wasn't very well received by fans. So it's funny that Ryan Reynolds, I hope he makes some Van Wilder references in this movie, because it fit in perfectly. But yeah, so I mean, the Deadpool panel was a complete twist from the Fantastic Four panel. Obviously, fans are excited for Deadpool. They are the reasons why this movie is being made. And so now, like, we're gonna go ahead and move on from Deadpool and go to the XMen Apocalypse panel. And the way that this panel started off, it had Hugh Jackman come out by himself, and it was basically him saying goodbye. It felt like he was.
It definitely did feel like that.
He was like thanking the fans, thanking the studio. He officially announced him retiring from the role of Wolverine. and also announcing, that there's going to be another Wolverine movie with James Mangold as the director. And it had like a little like promo image of like him as Wolverine, like holding up his fist with like the middle claw coming out, like he's flipping on. It's hilarious. But and
then he introduced the rest of the panel.
Yeah, and he introduced he was there for it, but yeah. So they started off with that. They showed some his footage when he auditioned for the role. They showed a clip where Bryan Singer went up to him and offered him the role. I haven't seen that footage because that hasn't been released. I wish it would be so I could watch that because that's super interesting to me. I love all that behind the scenes stuff. Whenever I watch movies, I always watch behind the scenes extras and stuff. But so yeah, and then they brought out Bryan Singer, and he brought out the whole entire cast of XMen Apocalypse, all the way from James McAvoy to all the new people. It had Jennifer Lawrence. It had the guy who plays Havoc,
Sophie Turner,
who's playing Jean Grey.
Olivia Munn
was there.
She was.
Yeah, Olivia Munn was there. So was Oscar Isaac as Apocalypse. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people on that panel. So they basically went down the line and just asked questions to each person. I mean, basic Comic-Con stuff. And then they showed footage. They've been shooting for 5 weeks. And so they basically put together a small little teaser of the footage that they've already filmed to show the people at Comic-Con. And this footage has been leaked online, hasn't been officially released. And following that, there was some backlash to the character of Apocalypse and what he looks like. So then they released official images of the cast, and it hasn't really helped any.
No.
Apocalypse in the footage...
At least with Apocalypse. It's kind of helped with the other characters that have been kind of questionable. But...
Yeah. Well, Apocalypse in the footage and in the promo images is like a purple-ish color. And people have been saying that he looks like a cross between Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dr. Freeze, or Mr. Freeze, and also Ivan Ooze from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I would have to agree.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know who Ivan Ooze is from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, make sure you look that up. It's pretty funny, and it's kind of sad how, I mean, I guess it's just the purple, and the fact that he's all purple kind of looks like that.
The biggest thing is, like, he's the same height as the rest of these characters. Like,
yeah.
From the comics...
Well, Oscar Isaac's a pretty small guy.
Yeah, but still, like, in general, like, from the comics and, like, when he showed up in the animated series, like, he was this real, very big, intimidating character. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying he needs to be a giant 15-foot man or something like that, but, like, he didn't really look all that imposing in that, in that leaked footage or even in those promotional photos.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And that's what I had the problem with. Like,
I mean, obviously they can do stuff with... Because this footage that they showed didn't have any visual effects added to it. So, obviously they can do some stuff with visual effects to make it look better. I mean, we talked earlier about... or on the trailer reaction that we did for Suicide Squad, we talked about how in the set photos, Killer Croc looked terrible, but then in that footage, he looked really good.
Yeah.
So hopefully when they actually get some visual effects in there, maybe he'll have some like upgrades that he goes through throughout the film.
Yeah, in the comics, we don't know where in the chronology of the film those scenes are.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, all that stuff is just, and that's why I actually want to talk about something else for a minute before we get into our quick hit segment of this, where we cover some news from outside of Comic-Con. But it brings us to the fact of whether or not studios should expect people at Hall H to leak footage. Because we have, this day and age, we have devices in our pockets that communicate with everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
That also has one. You know what I mean? So, like, and it's also a camera. So
it's so easy to upload this stuff to YouTube in the first place.
Yeah. So it's like, it's this issue of if it's morally, right for people to film it, but also as a studio, you kind of have to expect it to happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to Hall H is 6,000 to 8,000 people.
Yeah. There's
no way to police 8,000 people, short of just collecting all of their phones,
which would be a nightmare.
Yeah, especially when it's all over and those people leave. Like, so it's. I mean,
I've mentioned before about how I'm strongly against like people leaking stuff, but I mean, it is kind of hypocritical of me. But like when when a studio doesn't show people, unless it's like if it's like if they're still like on the editing table, right? Yeah. And somebody's in like one of their editing theaters at the studio and like records it and then releases it to the public, I think there's something wrong with that. But I think if you go to Comic-Con and show people footage,
even though it's a small public, you're still showing it to the public.
Yeah, and as a fan who is not able to go to Comic-Con because of location or money or whatever,
even just time. Again, like you have to buy Comic-Con tickets within a minute of when they go on sale.
So as a fan who would die to go to Comic-Con and be in Hall H, I want to see that stuff
because
so bad.
Like, none of these type of announcements are really, short of Disney now, happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, Disney's the only one that's actually doing, like, news conferences and that, like...
Star Wars Celebration.
The Marvel event they had, D23, the Marvel event they had last year. Yeah. Like, if you're not Disney, you're announcing things at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
So it's like, kind of... It's hard. It's like, yes, it is hypocritical to us because we're saying, like, don't bootleg it, but we're the one of the first ones to go and watch it.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, like people who, I mean, I pay my money. Like every time there's a comic book movie, like I'm shelling out money for it, and every time there's news, like I created this channel because I love these comic book movies and action movies and stuff so much that I want to talk about it and share it with everybody else on the internet. So it's like when I am that big of a fan of something, obviously I'm going to want to get all the information that I can and all the first looks that I can and all this stuff.
Yeah, like also like the comments coming from these studios about these leaks, it's like, they're showing these because these are like, they're diehard fans. Well, what do diehard fans want to do? They want to go evangelize, the thing that they love.
They want to share it with everybody else.
So you're getting mad at your fans for being excited about the movie you're coming out.
The one thing that I don't really understand is like for the WB panel, right? They released the Batman v Superman trailer hours after they showed it at Comic-Con. But the Suicide Squad trailer that they showed at Comic-Con, they didn't release until it got leaked, and then they felt like they had to release it. So it's like, if you were going to do that for Batman v Superman, do it for... I mean, it's a first look. It's a first look teaser. It's not a trailer. You can release that, and it's not going to like harbor your marketing plan at all. I'm a marketing student.
Yeah, I have a marketing degree.
Yeah, you have a marketing degree. Like, we both know. Like, it's not going to harbor it at all. If anything, it's free publicity. Like, what we do here, I mean, we've talked about the trailer reaction videos, and I mentioned in our last trailer reaction about how they'll do, like, copyright notices on your videos if you do a trailer reaction. But what you have to understand is, like, the studio is not paying me for that. It's free publicity for them. But and also, it's all, and we have 68,000 views on that trailer reaction video for Batman v Superman. That is free publicity that they're getting. We are like, I can understand if like people are giving like negative, things like negative.
But again, the studios, if you're worried about leaking things, why are you showing it to the public in the first place then?
Yeah,
like, it's kind of like that. Like, take a look at what Star Wars did. They did not want to put out a new trailer at Comic-Con. So what do? They put out a behind-the-scenes thing. That was also released to the public within an hour of the panel being done.
Yeah.
Like, so it's...
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you come to Comic-Con and you're releasing it to the public, you should have...
If you are showing a video at Comic-Con, you should plan to, put it out officially within a day.
The only thing that I could say about that, though, is like XMen Apocalypse, right? They've been shooting for 5 weeks. I can understand why they wouldn't want to show that footage to everyone in the world. But, I mean, too late. Oops. But
then don't show something as canned like a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
Do a behind the scenes video.
That's
like
that's the thing with Suicide Squad. That teaser trailer was ready for the public.
Yeah.
But they were just like, we don't want to show it to the public yet. Why? It's a teaser. It's not like a first trailer where you want to release it like 9 months before the movie comes out. It's a teaser. You can release that a year before it comes out.
And if anything, Suicide Squad needs more evangelizing, because yes, we as comic book movie fans are excited about it. The general public probably really has no idea who the Suicide Squad is.
Yeah. No, I mean, well, that's the thing. Besides having the Joker and Batman in there, that's what's going to get the general public to go see it. But the rest of us are going to go see it because we love comic books and comic book movies, and we see that kind of stuff. Anyways, we could talk about that one topic for just hours.
That could be a whole video on its own.
Yeah. All right, so now we're done with our main topics of the Comic-Con news that we wanted to recap from last week. Now we're just going to get into some quick hits that released either this week or the week before Comic-Con that we didn't get to cover because we didn't have a movie news show. But the first one is that Disney is planning a live-action Aladdin prequel titled Genies. Now, Aladdin is my favorite Disney animated movie of all times. My favorite. I love Aladdin. What I don't understand is in the press release they said, or from what I understand, it said something about, if this prequel is well received, then they'll make a live action Aladdin movie. Why not start with an Aladdin live action movie and then do a Genie's prequel? I don't get it. Like that bugs me. Like I like the idea of having a live-action Aladdin. I'm not sure what I think about a live-action Genie's prequel to Aladdin.
It all kind of depends on, basically, are we focusing on the Genie's life in the lamp, or I think
it's how he got there.
Basically, yeah. So it's kind of, which I think will be interesting. I know for me, I can't think of any of a Genie origin story in any kind of mythology. So I think that would be kind of interesting. But it's and they've shown no qualms about copying a animated movie almost frame by frame, like Cinderella. That copied the animated movie almost too much for some people. So it's again, getting to a live action Aladdin could be really exciting and really fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm all for them making live action versions of their previous animated movies, like their classics, like Cinderella. They're doing a Beauty and the Beast. Snow White would be another one that they could do. And Aladdin, is no exception to that. The only one that you couldn't really do is probably Lion King because it's all animals, so it'd be all CGI, which would be weird. So you might as well make another animated one. But yeah, so I'm not sure how I feel about a Genie's live-action prequel to Aladdin, but a live-action Aladdin, I would be down for.
Also, I'm sure kind of once they start filming, you hear the premise, the actual plot synopsis.
Yeah,
it probably makes more sense.
Yeah. Moving on to the next quick hit is a news segment or news topic that came out a couple weeks ago
before Comic-Con.
But Phil Lord and Chris Miller are set to direct the Han Solo Anthology movie. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on this?
Super excited. I've loved every one of their movies.
Yeah.
Granted, it's still a pretty short, cinematography, but they have knocked it out of the park pretty much everything that they've actually directed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see a Han Solo Anthology movie, depending on how they do it. But yeah, I mean, this is just when you have directors that have success like they have had, I mean, it doesn't hurt to get them on a project like this.
They're also especially with the Jump Street movies, they were able to balance comedy and action, pretty well. Granted, probably Han Solo will be more action than comedy, but
yeah. But I mean, you still
I feel they are very good at balance.
Quips. Yeah. You still have quips that Han Solo is going to have. Now, the real question is who they cast as a younger Han Solo.
Yeah, that's
the real question.
Oh, they've got 3 years to find out.
Yeah. And the last quick hit that we have before we get into our viewer questions is Ava DuVernay turns down Black Panther. And another article released earlier this week about why she turned it down. And basically it's just saying that she originally wanted to make the movie because it's not every day that you have the opportunity to make a movie about an African American man or an African man that will reach all the way from the U.S. to every other country in the world, because that's what Marvel movies do. But she said that once they got into further discussions about what they wanted the story to be, she said that she thought that she would have to compromise too much to where it wouldn't be her movie.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you have to respect her for turning it down, because it'd be easy for her to accept it because of all the money that she would make from it and everything else. But at the same time,
still kind of naively think, well, I can still put my spin on it.
And then something like Edgar Wright happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I don't blame Marvel for this at all.
No, and I don't blame her for stepping away either.
No, exactly. I think both parties did what they needed to do in this situation, because Marvel, I mean, I think they're going to do a great job with Black Panther and also the Netflix character Luke Cage. I think they're going to do a great job with both those characters and bringing them to life. But you know, they still need to follow what storylines they want to do, and
needs
also
to connect
to the greater
with
universe,
the rest of the movies.
Yeah, which is what they've been doing from the start. And you know, Black Panther, we're going to see him in Captain America: Civil War. So you know, they're already getting started to where they want or how they want this character to be portrayed because they have to because they, you know, but so. Both sides of this, I don't think anybody's wrong here. I think it's great that they found out that they didn't want to work on this project together. But so I wish her the best, and I'm sure Marvel will find a great director to helm Black Panther. So that's all good. We're gonna go ahead and get started with our viewer questions. We got a couple this week. So C, who basically he asked us a question basically almost every show now, which is awesome. Thank you, C, for your questions. I always enjoy them. And it reads, I almost forget that sometimes not everybody knows Suicide Squad like I do, but when they get a good look at the DC character Amanda Waller, one of the few characters in the universe that can go toe-to-toe and hold her own with the Batman. I'm assuming he's talking about like
intellectually or
like she's not intimidated by him. And then he continues, and finally I got the Joker that I've always wanted, insane and over the top. He says, I love the tattoos, teeth and all. Nothing about the Joker that I don't like. Suicide Squad is going to be one of the biggest hits next year. DC villains rock, and he wants to know what we think. And he says, as always, thanks for taking my question. C, you're welcome. We love your questions, man. Keep them coming. As far as what I think about Suicide Squad, I think one of the biggest hits of next year, I don't know, just because, I mean, obviously, you have Batman v Superman, you have Captain America Civil War, so those are going to be two huge movies, but I think Suicide Squad can be one of the biggest surprises of next year, for sure. Yeah. For as far as, like, the general public goes. Yeah, man, DC villains, you want to talk about the best villains in all of comic book history, you'd have to go with, personally, I have to say, Batman villains. There's such a psychological aspect to them, and they're so like interesting. Like Joker, Scarecrow, all those guys. They're real interesting. What do you think? I mean,
yes. Like when you look at the whole grand scheme of things, yes, DC has the better rogues gallery, but at the same time, it feels like once you leave the Batman villains, they kind of drop off.
Superman has some good ones too. You got Brainiac, Doomsday, Darkseid. I mean, but
look at like.
if you talk about like Arrow and Flash and
you're talking about like that's what most people see, like Captain Cold,
Captain Boomerang.
Well, I'm talking about Flash, but
but I'm saying Captain Boomerang is also a Flash villain, and he's in Suicide Squad, so it'd be interesting to see what they do with him to make him a more standout.
Yeah,
villain.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's kind of like, well, yes, like they hit more home runs with their villains, but I do think they have quite a few kind of lame villains as well.
Yeah, I mean, and unfortunately to this point, Marvel and their cinematic universe is kind of, their villains have been lackluster. So, and I really hate to see it become a recurring.
And at the same time, like a lot of the good, villains in Marvel are essentially X-Men villains.
Yeah, well, or Fantastic Four villains or whatever.
Yeah, like they're the Fox villains, basically.
Yeah, and they don't even do those villains justice. You want to talk about Galactus being a giant cloud, giant poo cloud. But,
Magneto is probably one of the best villains that Marvel has.
Well, Magneto, Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're not getting their
Apocalypse,
characters. It's just. Yeah, so Marvel is I feel like if Marvel can change the way that they portray their villains, if they really start to concentrate on their villains just as much as they concentrate on their heroes, I feel like they can turn it around to where their villains are looked at in a better light. But see, you're right. DC villains are pretty awesome, and I can't wait to see them in Suicide Squad and all the future DC movies that are going to be coming out. All right, so moving on to our last viewer question. Arctic Gaming writes us, and he says the Joker he has a theory, and I'm going to read this theory off, and me and Greg will talk about it. And he says the Joker in this universe is Jason Todd. All the tattoos are a reference to Batman and the original Joker. Robin wings on the left bicep, Jester chest tattoo in reference to Death of the Night and Life of the Jester. The J on his cheek is when the Joker label branded him when he held him captive turned into a tattoo. I think the Joker that's sending stuff to Bruce is Todd, as only he would know who he really is, so only he would send it to him. And I believe that the Joker / Todd has killed Dick Grayson after Batman caused the death of the original Joker, so that's why Todd took up the mantle. Makes sense if you really think about it. And a new story sure to be made into a comic also, like an alternate story to the Red Hood. What do you guys think? Alright, so Arctic Gaming, I think that you have a very interesting take, and I've been hearing this theory kind of spreading around the internet quite a bit. However, I cannot disagree more. All the tattoos on the Joker he's the Joker. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but he is the Joker. He has tattoos in this version of the Joker. I mean, yeah, the Robin wings on the left bicep, that could be this version of the Joker way to pay homage to the fact that he killed somebody. And the same thing with the J tattoo right here. It's just like a teardrop tattoo when you're in a gang and you kill somebody. You know, so it's very reminiscent of that. So I think that maybe the in the trailer of Batman v Superman, where we see that newspaper article that has written on it, "You let your family die," that could very well be Jason Todd. But I think it's Jason Todd. If it is a Joker, it just means that the Joker has already figured out who Batman is. I mean, Batman, has been around for 20 years.
Yeah, supposedly, they've been fighting. That's why Joker's teeth are all metal.
Yeah, so I'm sure by this time, Joker could find out who Batman really is. He just doesn't tell people because
he enjoys the game of it.
Yeah, he's just a Joker. So I think what I want to see out of this DC universe, I want to see Dick Grayson alive as Nightwing. And we see, the Jason Todd Robin costume in the Batcave. So obviously, Jason Todd could be thought to be dead at this point in the DC universe. And maybe we find out later that he's still alive as the Red Hood in a Batman solo film. That would be awesome. I think I like this version of the Joker. I think it'd be cool to bring in a new Robin to kind of help Bruce Wayne heal a little bit from the supposed death of Jason Todd. But what are your thoughts on this theory?
I mean, I think the theory would make a great story, but it's not the story in Suicide Squad or Batman versus Superman.
It'd be too bold to start that off with this DC universe.
Because remember, while you may really, you're really into comics, the vast majority of the people who are going to see this movie are not. And they're not going to understand those nuances.
Yeah, they're not. Well, I mean, really, we've never had Jason Todd in a live-action Batman movie before. So you're like, oh yeah, Jason Todd, he used to be Robin, now he's Joker. And people are like, what?
You look at kind of the foreshadowing stuff in the Batman vs. Superman trailer. I guarantee you, the Joker painted that stuff on while, the Robin was dead on the ground. And Bruce Wayne, Batman, is the one who put it in the case there. Like, it's not the Joker vandalizing it.
He put it in the case to remind himself every day of his failure.
Yeah,
I'm sticking. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's what I've been saying, and I mean, that's what it's going to be. That is a reminder to him that he failed.
Yeah. So and just kind of again, the vast majority, I think you only have that dead Robin suit because the fans have been wanting a Robin for so long. But pretty sure Warner Brothers doesn't really want to put one in there.
They don't want to put a young Robin.
Well, even so, it's a case, I think, basically, it's more just fans who are like, hey, Robin did exist, but we're not going to put him in this movie.
Well, yeah, but that Robin costume is very much for an adult Robin.
Yeah.
So I feel like they're going to have, I don't know, I mean, who knows at this point? I mean, they could very much not do a Robin, but I feel like they'll have Dick Grayson as Nightwing. They'll have Jason Todd, who used to be a Robin, who was killed by the Joker, and then I think they'll have a new Robin come in to take up that mantle with Batman. Maybe we'll find out in the Batman solo movies that Ben Affleck will be directing.
Yeah, it's since they're rebooting
with Jeff Johns writing, who is very he is DC Comics. So.
Yeah, so kind of like the story, or the hypothetical you posted in there, art of gaming, like I said, with this rebooted universe, essentially, like, it's too much of a stretch to do that right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Yeah, guys, so that's going to do it for this episode of Movieverse Movie News episode 9. If you guys like this video, click the thumbs up button. Comment down below what you guys think of maybe, Arctic Gaming's theory, or any of the Comic-Con news that we've discussed. This past week on our Batman v Superman trailer reaction, you guys have been very vocal, and I love talking with you guys about different theories. And basically all we can take away from this is that we are all super excited for what DC has planned in the future, and I can't wait to see what they do. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Movieverse Movie News. If you guys like this video, click the thumbs up button. Comment down below what you guys think about this theory from Arctic Gaming, or any of the other Comic-Con news that we've discussed. I love commenting with you guys down in the comments on this Batman v Superman trailer reaction that we just did. We're getting a ton of comments. Everybody's throwing out different theories, what they want to see, what they expect to see, and it's super fun. All we can take away from that is that we're all very excited for what DC has in store for us. So like the video, comment down below. As always, subscribe to Movieverse if you like our videos. We have movie reviews, trailer reactions, and a movie news segment every week. We have the Ant-Man movie review coming out here in the next day or so, also with the Suicide Squad trailer reaction discussion. And then we have our movie news segment every Sunday. And also, if you guys want a audio-only version of the show, we have a Stitcher and iTunes account, so you can go to both those outlets and type in Movieverse or Movieverse Online, subscribe to us on iTunes, and favorite us on Stitcher. And you can listen to us at work, or if you're busy and you just want something to listen to, you can plug it in. But yeah, that's going to do it for us here at Movieverse. You guys can contact us on Twitter at Movieverse with the number 2, and you can also email us to movieverseonline@gmail.com to get your questions answered every show right here. But that's going to do it for us, and we will catch you guys on the next video.